Welcome to the C.L.I.M.B. This is a show dedicated to helping singers, songwriters, and indie artists like you create leverage in the music business. You're going to need more than just your talent. It's not the old days where your talent gets you to a label and the label's going to develop you and take care of that for you. You're going to have to come to the table with some business, an audience, some cash transactions, touring money, cash flow. All these things have to happen in order for you to become sexy for a larger investor or for the music industry. And that's why this podcast exists, because we want you to win. It's why we called it the C.L.I.M.B, creating leverage in the music business, C.L.I.M.B. Brilliant! And the man that thought that up is my co-host and good friend, Mr. Brent Baxter. Brent is an award-winning hit songwriter with cuts by Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady Annabelle, Joe Nichols, and more. And what I love about Brent is he helps songwriters like you turn pro by revealing how you write like a pro, do business like a pro. And once you get those two things locked in, he's going to connect you with the pros so you can see what's really going on and judge your talent. You can find Brent very easily at songwritingpro.com. Once again, that's songwritingpro.com.
And I would like to introduce you to my co-host, Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns Daredevil Production. They help you find your sound and they help you grow your audience so you can become the artist that everybody loves and so you can get paid. Daredevil has worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. You can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That's production, singular, no S. And there is no S because there is no other Johnny D. How you doing, Johnny?
What's happening, man?
Well, I'm hoping I will be able to hear you this whole episode. The last one was a little bit of an adventure in Brent dealing with his loneliness and abandonment issues. If you dropped out for a little while. And so I've talked to a few people. I've gotten some hugs. And I think I'm feeling a little bit better about myself now. So,
well, hey, in this episode, here's what we're gonna deal with. Right off the bat, we're gonna dig into whether or not you're interested in being an artist or a songwriter, or committed to being an artist or a songwriter. But before we do that, we got a little business to take care of. Mm-hmm. Real quick, first ever C.L.I.M.B conference, right? Mm-hmm. And that is May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. What a better place to party down than in Utah.
That's right.
In Salt Lake City. And we'll have, it's going to be Brent and I, Chris Oglesby from BMG Music, who's a pro publisher, a lot of hit songs that he's connected writers with. And so he's going to have a lot of input on what kind of songs they're looking for, business, how to get into it, how to manipulate when you're in it. Also, we got Shelby Kennedy, who is running the whole TuneCore office out here in Nashville. TuneCore is one of the world's largest digital distributors. And I think, boy, if there's somebody that's going to have some insight on looking around the corner to where the music industry is going and how you can adapt in advance to stick out from all the other artists who are going to still be doing it the old way, this is the guy to talk to, right?
That's right. Yeah, especially some stuff we're probably going to talk about today would be right up his alley. So,
yeah, because we're gonna get into
digital and versus physical product. But if you are interested in joining us out in Salt Lake City, Utah, the weekend of Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, find us at climbconference.wordpress.com. That's climbconference.wordpress.com. And just want to thank Chelsea Stallings, friend of the show, a fellow climber who has been just really instrumental in putting this all together and help making this happen. So Chelsea, thank you very much. And also Mindy, if you're listening, thank you both. And we look forward
to Mindy.
Wreck and Shop.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. We're going to come out and defile that establishment.
There we go.
So, hey, if you haven't joined the C.L.I.M.B community real quick, do so on Facebook. Search out C.L.I.M.B community. Ask to be let in. There is a little velvet rope there, but it's easy to get in. We let everybody in. But we will roadhouse you if you're bad boys and girls. So be intelligent when you're in there. Don't come in and just spam the crap out of everybody. We're going to get rid of you quick. But there's some good stuff going on there, Brent. Good people helping other people out. Hey, what about this? How do I do that? And you get 3 or 4 different opinions and some good perspective. And I just really love the community that we have. Like, everybody's really in there helping everybody else out. So thank you to everybody in the C.L.I.M B community, and come on in and join that. Share the information. If you like what's going on with this podcast, share it with other people. Let them know. take 30 seconds, leave a rating and review on iTunes. It makes us look legit to people who are just finding us for the first time. And we will read it on the air. So you take the time, 20 seconds to make the rating and review, and we'll make you famous on the podcast. And then finally, subscribe. You want to get it automatically right into your phone every single Tuesday, and makes it super easy. And we're right there, just like a warm, comfy blanket loaded with music industry information, right?
That's right. That's right. And you'll see how easy it is when you subscribe and it shows up, you'll be like, oh, that's the power if I get people to sign up for my stuff and I just show up in their inbox or on their device. You're like, oh, see, so, you'll be able to see firsthand the value of that going, yeah, it just shows up. I don't have to think about the climate. It just shows up and gives me some good input. What if I do that for my people, my fans? Get them to subscribe to something I do, and then I can just show up in their devices and their inboxes and give them good music. I'll tell you. That's right. It's good practice for your career. You just need to do it. That's what I'm saying.
Love it. Okay, so quick thing here, a new little thing we just came up with here that we're going to try to add to as many episodes as it makes sense. But a little social media win for you. We'll call it a social media win. Okay, so two things I want to tell you about here. Number one is Facebook recently has finally completed their deals on the back end for publishing with all of the record industry title holders now. So where if you've ever tried to upload a live or upload a video of you singing a cover song or even your own song to Facebook before, and they would take it off, they would remove it and threaten to remove your account. And I've had actually an artist that we just began working with, like the day after we started working with her, they had just removed her account. Like she had to start a whole new Facebook account.
Oh man.
They ghosted it and the reason Facebook did that was, unlike YouTube where you can upload stuff, if you do a cover song, YouTube has a back end that they know how to find the writers and the business entities that are going to distribute the funds, and they're going to get them paid for those streams and for those views. Facebook did not have those relationships in place. And clearly something happened. I don't have inside knowledge as to what happened, but somebody sued somebody and got a lot of money for it. So Facebook went downright ballistic about it. And it literally to the point where people were uploading their own music and Facebook just didn't take the chance and they would just remove it. And you're like, that's my music. And they're like, here's the 50 hoops you got to jump through to prove it. And by that time, it doesn't even matter anymore, right? Mm-hmm. So the good news is that Facebook has made those deals. So now with our artists, just to give you a little insight in some of our social media tricks here, we are uploading our cover videos for our artists on YouTube, and then we'll do a separate upload directly to Facebook, because we can do that now and they're going to stay up and nobody's going to get in trouble. And the writers Facebook, are going to get paid.
That's right. That's was just dear to my heart. And also Facebook prefers Facebook content versus like links from YouTube or different stuff like that, right? So that's
exactly
a separate
exactly right.
Facebook, not just link out, but if you upload directly to Facebook, Facebook's like, oh, we like that better.
Yeah, and you're going to get more love. You're going to get more organic reach with that if you do that. So whereas literally a month ago, I would say you can't upload anything directly to Facebook if it's musical, because you're going to get in big trouble and maybe lose your account. So we would encourage our artists to put a link to YouTube on there. Now that is the opposite. So you can upload that music. You're totally going to be okay. The writers are going to get paid. So if you're concerned about that, you don't need to be. Everybody's going to get their due, what's coming to them. And you're going to get a better reach. You're going to reach more people if you upload that video directly to Facebook. And the second bit of little trick I want to tell you is, some of you may have noticed that on Instagram stories that you can swipe up and go directly to a link on some Instagram stories, but maybe you can't do it on yours. And I just wanted to tell you the magic trick is 10,000. You have to have 10,000 followers on Instagram, and then Instagram will allow you to put a direct link in. So you could do like a little video announcing a song or a cover song or something like that you're doing, and you could swipe up and go right to direct them right to YouTube or something like that. right to a download, right to whatever link you want it to go to. If you got a squeeze page kicking and you want to send them right there, you can make that happen with a simple swipe, but you got to get to 10,000 first. So just wanted to throw that out there. Those are 2 social media tricks. Value bombs. You're welcome.
Boom.
Next thing is some big news that everybody needs to be aware of. This is in Billboard this past week here. Best Buy was at one point one of the largest distributors of physical product, one of the largest distributors of CDs. And as of February 2nd, Best Buy has announced that they are going to get rid of all CDs in all Best Buy stores by July 1st.
Man.
Boom. Right? Following that announcement, Target has come out, and I kind of feel like maybe Target's doing a little, I don't want to call it backpedaling because they're not changing their mind, but I think they're trying to sugarcoat it a little bit because obviously, I mean, these 2 stores have huge relationships with the record labels, and they're a big part of the pipeline. They're a big part of why music is you're able to get it into your hands. But where Target normally would buy product, and the agreement that they had was like, maybe they're going to buy 500,000 units of whatever, Carrie Underwood, and they're going to distribute those 500,000 units amongst all their stores. And whatever they didn't sell, they had 60 days of a window where if they didn't sell it, they could package it up. They would have to pay for shipping, ship the CDs back, and they would get credit for those CDs. So they didn't have to hold on to inventory, music CD inventory that wasn't going to move for them. And they could, in 60 days, you can kind of gauge what's happening, whether or not that CD is moving or not. Now it's changed, and Target basically said, "Look, we're going to sell these on a consignment basis only. You ship them out here, and we're not going to pay anybody anything until it sells." That's a big deal. I mean, Brent, right off the top of your head, how does that make you feel? Like, what do you think the impact is on that as far as physical products concerned?
I think it lessens the drive of, puts the risk on the label, because they have to make these CDs, the cost of that, and then shipping them, the cost of that. And then they may sit there and not be sold. And, before they got paid up front. So they got money in hand. Now they're going to think a lot more hard about, how much do we ship to these places? Do we ship less? And then when they run out, we'll just ship more, that kind of thing. Because before it's like, get Target to buy as many as they can. And I don't care if the whole shelf is Carrie Underwood. That's awesome for us because they'll buy it. And now it's just leading to less and less physical product being out there, which right now, I mean, that's still, it's dwindling. It's almost gone as far as what you get paid on mechanicals. It's called mechanicals when it's a CD or physical product, tape, 8-track, whatever. That's all mechanical sales that we get. And so we get a sliver of that for royalties. And that's been a decent part of our income stream, our revenue pie. It's a good slice of that pie, but man, now just, that one's going away. Everything's going more digital, which I guess we'll talk about, and which is, it's getting better.
Yeah, they've raised the rates on digital, but here's the other thing I want to talk about is that with physical product, and for some of you, this is going to be like, duh, we already know that, Johnny. And for some of you, you just haven't thought about it this way. But with physical product for the major labels, there's an amount of sales. This isn't enough to sustain any artist or whatever, but there's a decent amount of sales that comes from just being in the right place, right? Mm-hmm. Like because you're flipping through CD titles in Best Buy, or you're flipping through CD titles in Target, and you run across, here's the brand new Thomas Rhett record. I didn't even know that was out. Right. Here's oh my gosh, AC/DC put out something new. I like, maybe you missed it. Maybe you missed the media blitz and you weren't aware of it, but it's there to buy. So there's a certain level of spontaneity on purchase decisions that certainly comes with physical product that is no longer going to be there. Mm-hmm.
And I think also when basically labels go, no, we're not really in the physical product business, it's going to get more like it was like with Elvis in the 50s, where we're just going to drop a single, A-side, B-side, maybe even not a B-side, and we're just going to kick out singles every however often, 3 months or whatever, and do that. And you may not be any so-called album cuts to be had. It will either be single or nothing, or just some extra content that is out there, but nothing amounting much to anything is where.
And the marketing's, it's going to change the marketing. I mean, more and more, it's going to be about the artist and not about the song, right? Because that means that the radio isn't working like it used to, which is what was the commercial to go and buy the CD, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And since it means the market behavior has changed to adopting more and more and more of the streaming aspect of it. So the market's more digital with the way that they're listening to music. They're going to pay for it that way as opposed to paying for physical product and having really what has now become a cumbersome CD. There's only so much space in your car for a CD, but you can have a million songs at your fingertips with streaming and have the same experience. So of course that's where it's going to go, but it's about marketing yourself and getting yourself out there. And when people are aware of you and they love you, they're going to have an open heart and an open mind to listen to your music. So that's really big news. I mean, when some of those big distributors are saying, hey, this is not happening anymore, and we're just not even going to sell CDs anymore. Mm-hmm. That's wow. I mean,
and it changes, for major labels, it changed the whole artist there was an album cycle. We had to collect all these songs, get them all together, 10, 12 songs, and boom, we drop them like Netflix. You can go buy the record and binge listen. Yep. Well, now maybe become just more like cable TV or whatever, where you got to wait for the new, the whole season of Game of Thrones doesn't drop at the same time. Got to wait till the next episode. No, now they're on fall break, and they got to wait for the next episode. And the songs will become episodes of a series that doesn't drop all at once. I think that'd be interesting how that changes. Yeah. It won't be about the new album from Kenny Chesney. It'd be like, no, it's a new single, and then after that we'll have a new single, and he may drop some small packages stuff here that he's not going to push to radio or different things, where he can maybe have some more of his laid back ballady singer-songwritery stuff, but it's there for more his hardcore fans and to serve his art, round out what he does on a brand, but it may not be like the single. You just have so many more options these days. You don't have to package it all together, send it all out at once.
You just gave me an idea. So I read this great book, and it was, gosh darn it, I can't remember the name of the book right now. I normally would have it on my desk, but since we moved, it's not where it should be. But I'll put it in the show notes. I'll put the name of the book in the show notes. But essentially what it was is about this freaked out artist in an Eastern third world country that was putting out this story bit by bit online, and that was driving people crazy. Like there was this huge audience that was kind of waiting for the next episode to sort of come to your point, Brent. That's what made me think about it. But imagine something like Pink Floyd's The Wall or Queensryche's Mind Crime, which were, from front to back, they were concept albums. They each song told a different part of a whole bigger story. And imagine an artist pulling something like that off. That was like it's almost thematic. It's like watching a movie. Especially with like Mind Crime, like it's like watching, if you read the lyrics to that, and it's an incredible piece of work, by the way, even if you don't like hard rock or whatever you want to call it, metal. I mean, it was poppy, but from the front, there's a setup, there's conflict, there's all these subplots that are going on, and it's like seriously watching a really well-made movie from the front to the back, and there's this whole story that's going on. Imagine an artist that put that together. And was just releasing it like one episode at a time. Like you could really build an audience on that, right? Like, you have just people, salivating at the mouth, trying to, figure out what's going to happen. Like in the case of Queensryche's Mind Crime, what's going to happen to the main character, Nikki? Who's a hitman for the Underworld Order, right? For the New World Order. Like, it's really crazy. But anyway, so
one thing that kind of reminds me of is, and they were doing this with videos back in the day, back in the 90s. I remember Tracy Lawrence when he was doing the Quantum Leap, style videos for a while, where like they were kind of tied together. The songs were completely separate, but he was kind of traveling into these other times and other bodies kind of thing, and he would show up in different contexts. Like one was a pirate one was like a 1950s sock hop that he showed up at, and at the end of it he would kind of quantum leap, if you remember that old show, the lightning effect, whatever, and end up in the setting of his next video. Like, what's going on here? It was a way to kind of tie those together. Or
and that was the cliffhanger, right?
And it was kind of a cliffhanger, and you're like, oh, so it kind of put a thread for these videos. One kind of led right to the other, and each one had its own little story that when it resolved, then he could leap out to the next thing. Travis Tritt did that with a couple of videos where it was about that veteran Mac who was in a wheelchair, and it was like "Tell Me I Was Dreaming." I think it was a couple songs where it was a recurring character. It was the same character he was playing and the same supporting characters and that sort of thing. You got even just invested. It started with, I think, Anymore, that single of his, and you can watch "Tell Me I Was Dreaming." There was another one. You got invested in these made up characters that are only in these videos, and so. That's interesting that you could do something like that these days to try and tell a story in a different way, even if the songs aren't connected so much as the outside stuff tells the story. Anyway, just thought.
Yeah, no, that's it, man. It's all going to be going to digital, and so that begs the question for an artist. Like a lot of artists, and I've been getting this question more and more lately in the consulting meetings and everything like that. Like, should I print up CDs? Like, it's always been my dream to have a CD, but now should I even do it? And it's the answer is it's different for every artist. Like if you're touring, there's I just had a meeting yesterday with an artist, does over 200 dates a year, completely independent, makes her a living touring.
Awesome.
Makes sense for her to have a CD, right? Because she's going to sell that still at her shows, and that's going to be revenue for her. That's going to open a cash register that she can exercise, that she can execute, that she can take advantage of, because she's in this unique position of doing all these dates. If you're doing 3 dates a year, man, might not be worth it to go run 1,000 units, right, to make it happen. So you kind of got a form fitted. If you have any questions, of course, you can reach out at info@daredevilproduction.com, set up a consultation meeting, and I'll be happy to kind of help you figure out what the best plan is for you and put together a strategy. But it's the other thing that's big about this news is that CDs are still kind of in the mind of the public, not kind of, very much so in the mind of the marketplace, right? Everybody knows what a CD is. Everybody uses a CD. But I mean, think about this. There's a lot of you listening to this podcast right now that you look at a rotary phone and you're like, what? Like, it's old technology. You're like, what was that? And then you even look at like a touch tone phone. You're not even sure what that was, right?
Right, yeah.
I mean, it's 2018. The iPhone came out in 2007. So there are 11-year-olds right now who don't even know what a house phone is.
Oh, my kids!
Their parents just have cell phones.
My kids have ever seen a house phone, or if they, didn't notice it, it was definitely not at our house. Yeah.
So I think to kind of wrap this up here, what does this mean for you, the indie artist? It's about getting yourself out there. You've really got to figure out a way to touch the audience, to get them to open up to you and to like you before they're going to listen to your music. And you need to exercise this permission marketing thing. You're going to need their contact information. Don't let the failure of the record industry to do this on a regular basis be your guide. What they're in the middle of, very clearly, I mean, there's a reason sales have dropped from $75 billion a year to $15 billion a year. That's an 80% drop in sales over the last 8 or 10 years. And it's kind of starting to rebound a little bit now with streaming revenues for the first time, but it's been in a free fall for a long time. And that's because the market changed and the industry hasn't. And statistically, guys, this is not a slight or any kind of negative energy towards the record industry and the labels, but they are huge publicly traded corporations, and they are very predictably going to move slow. They can't adapt that quick. The culture change for them is just too much for them to say, for them to wake up one day and say, we have to do everything we've always done over here at Warner Brothers for the last 80 years. And we've also got to figure out how to do business like Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, it's insane. So it's not going to happen very quickly at all. And this is, remember we talked before in an episode about the Chinese word for crisis is made up of two different characters. It's danger and opportunity. And so there's very big danger right now that's happening in the record industry, although we seem to be, at least turning it around. But the opportunity is for you guys, for the indie artists that are out there, adapt. You can adapt immediately, and you can do what the record labels can't and what the artists on the record labels can't. They may have a bigger brand name than you do. They may be able to reach more people than you do because they have more cash flow, but you can be far more intelligent and set yourself up to grow that business email by email, telephone number by telephone number, and grow and put yourself in a position where you're going to be what the new artist is going to look like, and they're going to have that kind of an online business set up, and you can thrive. You can make a living. You can make a good living. Granger Smith made a very healthy 7-figure living.
Mm-hmm.
It's $1 million, $1.8 million a year from his laptop doing exactly this. So if he can do it, you can do it too. But you need to understand that the marketing has changed, and you've got to put some energy into adapting with it, because the artists, it's not the strongest artists, the most talented artists that are going to survive. It's not the artists with the most money that are going to survive. I mean, you got to have money, but it's not the only thing. It's the most adaptable that are going to survive in this new business. So I think it's good news. I mean, it's inevitable news. It's just, this is definitely going to hasten the elimination of physical product, but it's not going to be long before CDs are just an afterthought. Like it's
That's right.
What's the point of even making one? Right. So anyway, listen, if you guys, again, if you need a little help with your career, you need some one-on-one guidance, reach out to us at info@daredevilproduction.com. Of course, production is singular. There is no S. Schedule a one-on-one consultation, and we can make that happen. We do charge for this, but you'd be amazed at what we can do in just 1 hour. But listen, it helps you strategize something that's customizable for you, as opposed to a lot of these broad reaching conversations that everybody has to have on any podcast or in any news article, because they're trying to get the concept across. The concept is one thing, understanding it, but how to apply it to yourself, that's a completely different thing, and that's what we can help you with. So we can help you become the artist that everybody loves. So reach out to us again at info@daredevilproduction.com. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Man, it's $150 an hour. It's nothing. Don't get me wrong, it's $150, but it's worth it if you can get yourself on the right track and actually create some momentum. So with that, guys, that brings us to the end of another Killer Climb episode. This podcast exists because we want you to win. So keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.